All right, Tennessee Titans fans, here we go again. This is a video from K. Rich Productions. It is called Why the Tennessee Titans and Will Levis Hype is Fake. All right. We'll see what they have to say.
This video is brought to you by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino.
Yeah.
All right, right now the Tennessee Titans are gaining a lot of traction amongst many fans and analysts as possible breakthrough side in 2024.
Already we have shots of Ryan Tannehill. We have shots of Derrick Henry. So that's fitting. We have shots of people who are not even on the team anymore. And who that you have seen, other than like, I don't even know who, is willing to say that the Titans are a legitimate threat in 2024. Who said that? I do video after video on here talking about the fact that nobody is saying that.
You've got a young
Maybe
quarterback
Rich
that
Eisen.
we're trying to evaluate to see what his ceiling is.
It's the Callahan
Especially when
family.
He's got that,
Right.
He's got that inclination to run the ball. And remember last year at some point, Vrabel had to show him video of all the quarterbacks getting blown up by being a little too stubborn with their efforts to run the football when maybe they should have just hit the deck or gotten out of bounds. So you want to keep Will Levis healthy so we can just see what he had.
Will Levis showed something in his rookie season, leading some to pick the Titans as an underrated sleeper pick in an already stacked AFC. That hype, though, is completely misplaced. Tennessee is just honestly a completely distant competitor in their division, has an underwhelming quarterback in place, and is the destination where I think careers go to absolutely die. And
Hilarious that as he said that, they put DeAndre Hopkins on the screen and Derrick Henry on the team on the screen. DeAndre Hopkins, who was projected to be terrible last year, he's going to be like all the others, had a really solid year. Derrick Henry literally made a name for himself here. Like, where careers go to die. DeMarco Murray revived his career in Tennessee. Delaney Walker, nobody even knew who he was before he went to Tennessee. Ryan Tannehill literally resurrected his career from the dead in Tennessee. Already no credibility here.
this is why the Will Levis hype is all fake.
It doesn't exist. It's not that it's fake. It's that what hype? Who is hyping up Will Levis at all?
All right, now after that big dramatic intro, I don't want to say that the Titans are as bad as, say, of a dumpster fire of the Panthers or even the Giants are,
Or the Saints.
but they're still not that great that everybody's making them to be. There have been some exciting additions in Calvin Ridley and
Here we
L'Jarius
go.
Sneed.
Here we go. Every single video. They haven't added tons of great talent all over the place, but that doesn't mean anything.
Sources say the Tennessee Titans are signing Jaguar star receiver Calvin Ridley. Listen to this massive deal. 4 years, $92 million for Calvin Ridley. $50 million fully guaranteed in this deal, negotiated by David Mulugeta and Reza Azam of Athletes.
Okay.
Overblown for a team in a tough division that went 6-11 last year and is moving forward with an unproven quarterback and a rookie head coach in Brian Callahan. So I mean, honestly, it got me wondering, where is all of this hype coming from? Because
Nowhere!
besides JJ McCarthy and maybe a little bit of Justin Fields talk right now, everybody, just like last year, we did it with Kenny Pickett, and I think everybody's doing it again with Will Levis, is they're hyping him up. But where's it coming from? And
Is this guy living in an alternate reality? Is he in an alternate? What shows is he watching? Everybody's just talking about other than JJ McCarthy and Justin Fields. Let's talk about it. What show are you watching where all they talk about is JJ McCarthy, Justin Fields, and Will Levis? Like, I can understand if you said Caleb Williams, C.J. Stroud, Anthony Richardson. Then I would be like, yeah, sure, that's who they're talking about. But you throw out the most random names that you could think of.
I mean, like, if we go back to last year, most notably, they flashed some potential in a few statement wins last year, including a stunning late Monday Night Football victory over the Miami Dolphins, which saw 2 touchdowns in the last 3 minutes to give the Titans an incredible 28-27 win out of just nowhere.
14-point lead with 3 minutes left, and the rookie Will Levis and his muscles lead 2 back-to-back 2-minute drills. Go 3 and out.
Yeah, he working out.
3 minutes left in the game.
Yeah, he working out though.
Yeah, we be listening.
And it was even more satisfying 1 week later when somehow they managed to beat their division rivals, the Jacksonville Jaguars, in a Week 8.
Somehow. Anytime the Titans do anything good, somehow a miracle occurred.
Team victory. And what turned out to be Mike Vrabel's final game as the Titans head coach, the team pulled off a 28-20 upset win over their rivals from Duval County, finishing off a historic collapse from the Jaguars and finally eliminating the Jags from playoff contention. And while the Titans were anything really but exciting last year, games like this did manage to show some of the potential that they did.
Nothing from last year matters. Nothing from last year matters. I want everybody to say it with me. It's like church. Look at your neighbor and say, nothing from last year matters. Let that be a lesson to you in life. If you're trying to press on and get over past mistakes, nothing from the past matters. Last season does not matter. It's a new coach, completely new staff. I sound like a freaking broken record. I say the same things every video. New coach, new coaching staff, new regime, new game plan. The roster's completely been flipped. Nothing you could possibly say about last year, good or bad, matters.
To have. Even if there were some pretty rough losses along the way. But so much of the hope and hype from fans in Tennessee this offseason comes from the man under center, 25-year-old Will Levis, entering his second year in the league. As we all know, the mayo-eating coffee guy, Levis, has started not...
You're already about to make me turn the video off. I've had it with the mayo and the coffee. I've had it, dude. It was something he did for TikTok that he didn't even really do. I swear, if every time you bring up Will Levis, there's the mayonnaise in the coffee. That's funny. That's original. No, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. And let that be a challenge to you, Will Levis. Give them something else to talk about. Because I'm sick of it.
Team last year, going 3-6 along the way. He was inconsistent, but Titans fans will point to his 4-touchdown game on his pro debut against Atlanta as a prime example of what he is capable of in the big leagues. But now, if we're going to take that approach, then every Bears fan that wanted to keep Justin Fields, who is just a really good running back that can throw the ball really far, would just refer back to the Commanders game last year when he looked like John Elway in his prime throwing.
Hey, Justin Fields fan. I don't know what this guy has against Justin Fields. Justin Fields fans, he just called him a running back. Any Steelers fans out there, any Justin Fields fans, this man just called him a running back.
For 4 touchdowns, but instead the Bears went and got Caleb Williams. And now look, I know that the fans of the Titans are really going to be hoping that he can become the new face of Nashville, but is he actually going to be able to do that? And honestly, as we all know, the jury is completely still out on Will Levis and really just how good he is. I know we can't completely write him off just yet because we haven't really done the same for Bryce Young yet because it's only their both of them, I guess, their second years. But so far, he's just proving such a tough guy and just a tough quarterback to trust the ball in his hands with. The dude's got the arm strength and he's got the arm talent, but his decision making is it's sketchy at best. Last year, he only threw 4 interceptions to go along with his 8 touchdowns, but honestly, only good fortune stopped that figure from being a lot higher. According to PFF, Levis's turnover-worthy play percentage of 4.5% was 3rd worst, behind only Mac Jones and Desmond Ridder. And I know being confident...
really, first of all, talking about any quarterback, and don't let me be guilty of this and talking about anybody. If you're going, and he may, listen, he's got 11 minutes left of video here, but if you're going to talk about Will Levis, or anybody, any quarterback here, you've got to talk about what's around him. How fair is that to be the quarterback, first of all, his decision-making was sketchy at best. He only had 4 interceptions, but the only reason it wasn't more is just because he was lucky. Well, you could just about say that about anybody. And also, even like, I'll be the first to tell you, yeah, there's some throws I'm sure he wishes he could have back. He was a rookie who got thrown in there in the middle of the year. Okay, I'm not going to deny that. But do you remember like what they were saying about Josh Allen at the end of his rookie year? Do you remember what they were saying about Peyton Manning? If you were around back then, like I was, after he took over, Eli Manning. My gosh, they were writing death threats to that man because of how bad he was playing. So I'm sorry if you're not going to win me over with this argument based on just saying, well, he made some bad decisions his rookie season when he got thrown in halfway through with the worst offensive line in football and one good receiver. Like, you're going to need a little stronger argument than that.
And your own ability, that's totally fine. I mean, if you're Joe Burrow or Patrick Mahomes, that's even better. Like, that's great because of how good those guys are. But for Will Levis, at this point in his career, if he's going to try and do stuff that those guys are doing, he's going to create more problems than solve them at this point.
So
like,
what
I mean,
would you
just
have
a
him
week
do?
after that tremendous debut against the Falcons, Levis's second NFL start ended with a disastrous final drive interception.
No, you're not using that as an example. You ain't using that as an example. You are not using that as an example. A disastrous interception. Why don't you put that in context? Oh, you just lost me. You were already losing me. You just lost me full on. That was the last play of the game. That footage that you just saw of that interception was the last play of the game. And all of the Steelers were standing back at the end zone because they were pretty much in prevent. And you're using that as an example? His second start ever? Hold on, let me hear what this man said.
Create more problems than solve them at this point. Like, I mean, just a week after that tremendous debut against the Falcons, Levis's second NFL start ended with a disastrous final drive interception against Pittsburgh, which handed the Titans an L in a game that they had every chance of winning, especially considering the opposing quarterback was Kenny Pickett of all quarterbacks.
Yeah, you lost me, man. You lost me. They literally got the ball with like no timeouts and were driving down there, and he had to just chunk it up to the end zone on what either was the last or next to last play of the game because they were running out and they had no timeouts and the Steelers were all standing back at the end zone. A disastrous. Why don't we talk about the fact that it was his second start ever, his first on the road, and you say it was a week later. It was not a week later. It was like 3 days later because that was a Thursday night game. He had the debut against Atlanta on that Sunday and then had until that Thursday, which really they had like 1 day of practice because they had to travel to Pittsburgh to go out in front of that crowd in Pittsburgh, which is rowdy. You can talk about Kenny Pickett all you want to, but it's the Steelers defense, which is always going to be good because they're coached by Mike Tomlin, and you're going to cite that as a reason you don't believe in Will Levis? Get out of town.
Like, plays like this raise plenty of questions about Levis. Will he learn from his mistakes? Will new head coach Brian Callahan iron out these errors of him? Or will he be a complete boomer bust quarterback for his time in the league and become the next Jameis Winston?
What?
He'll never be as funny as Jameis Winston.
This guy's just throwing out any name that comes to mind. Is he just going to be another Jameis Winston? What?
Defense in the running game, give overall.
Okay, I don't
He
need
told me.
I don't need
Fans
funny
are
clips of
familiar with the
Jameis.
sophomore slump. Like, I think we've all seen
Sophomore
before.
slump? How do you have a sophomore slump when you just told me he was terrible as a rookie? He's already slumped. CJ Stroud is who you need to be talking about the sophomore slump because he was the one who did great in his rookie year. That's how you have a sophomore slump. How you gonna talk about a sophomore slump when you talk about a guy who you say is already not good? You can't slump when you already slumped.
Like guys like Desmond Ridder, Mac Jones, all of those guys who have really exciting rookie first years, and then they
What? Desmond Ridder had an exciting rookie year? One of my best friends is a diehard Atlanta Falcons fan. I'm gonna text him right now, and I'm gonna put my text won't work because I'm watching this video for the channel. Would you say Desmond Ridder had an exciting rookie year for the Falcons? Let's just let that set. We'll come back to it.
Cannot repeat it their following season after. Like, I mean, sometimes a sophomore slump is just a result of the rest of the league figuring out the play style of the quarterback and making adjustments to the tape that they are.
Look at the people he just put on this screen. Look,
Cannot repeat it their following season after.
got
like, I mean, sometimes
Mac
a sophomore slump
Jones,
is just a result of the rest of
Kenny
the league figuring
Pickett,
out the play style of the quarterback.
Eli
and
Manning,
making adjustments
Aaron
to the
Rodgers,
tape that they already
Patrick
have on him.
Mahomes.
It can also be
You're trying to tell me, oh, the league's gonna figure him out. You know, the league's gonna figure him out as you put Patrick Mahomes on the screen. A dude ain't nobody figured out yet, never will.
related if a player doesn't keep up the same work rate that made him successful initially.
Work rate? Oh, you're all over the place now. Now it's about work rate? Of all things you're gonna question about Will Levis, his work rate? Oh.
Which is a surefire way to fail in the NFL. Throughout history, there have been plenty of these in the league, most recently Patriots quarterback Mac Jones, who looked fairly impressive in his rookie 2021 season and was comfortably the best in his class, winning the second most offensive rookie of the year votes along the way. But as we all know, Jones's performances have hovered between bad and dreadful in the 2 years since, leading to New England trading him this offseason.
So this dude pretty much just said, let me find somebody who had a good rookie year and then fell off. Mac Jones. Like, okay, let's look for a rookie who had a great rookie year and then kept being great when they went on from there. Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady. Like, like, you can find examples for any of this stuff.
Traded for a 6th-round pick to Jack. New England just wanted to.
Don't
Is
care.
the lack of playmakers at his disposal and the disastrous idea to put Matt Patricia and Joe
Okay,
Judge
is this a
in charge
video
of the
about Mac
offensive game planning?
Jones,
But
or-
Jones was also not free from all the guilt. For a risk-taking quarterback like Levis, the hope from Titans fans is that he ends up being the next Josh Allen. But it's also entirely possible that he'll be the next Mac Jones, particularly as he's facing a
I mean, my gosh, it's okay. Let me get back to my text here. I texted my buddy. This guy's a diehard Falcons fan. I said, "Would you say Desmond Ridder had an exciting rookie year for the Falcons?" And he texted back and said he threw for 97 yards in his first start. He had such a great rookie year and then fell off. I don't know what happened.
few of the common problems that often contribute to a young quarterback's career going south. For one, the Titans' offensive line was horrible last season.
Who
Cause of
cares?
death for the Titans this
Doesn't
season.
matter.
One of the worst offensive lines in the NFL.
Man, this is going to be a consistent trend.
Yeah, it
Jets,
is.
Patriots, Titans.
It's actually, I think,
Giants.
rare where you get
Okay,
specific.
The worst sack percentage in the league, only behind the historically bad New York Giants. These issues have already affected Levis, who suffered a right foot injury following a sack in the Week 17 game against Houston, which saw him miss the season finale against the Jacksonville Jaguars. And look, I know that a lot of injuries are common in the NFL, but when you have a guy that you think has a bunch of potential like Will Levis, I almost said Mac Jones because of how bad I think he is, but
I'm gonna try to be a Christian.
of Will Levis, you need to do everything in your willpower to make sure that he stays upright and doesn't get hit with all of these big hits and just so he stays healthy. Luckily, they have gotten some reinforcements via the draft and free agency, but it remains to be seen whether this is a good unit. They will at least have the offensive line guru Bill Callahan to guide them, but then
Yeah, it remains to be seen, sure, but it's like I'm so sick of these videos where it's like, man, they brought in freaking Bill Callahan to coach them. They drafted a huge guy in J.C. Latham. They brought in a new center in Lloyd Cushenberry. Peter Skoronski is one of the only guys who had a promising year on the line. They got to figure out the right side, but they've got options there that are new options. They've really only got one starter coming back from that terrible offensive line, but they're still going to suck. Like, that's where it always is.
next concern for Levis is the potential beginning of a trend of constant chopping and changing of coaches. Most of the truly elite quarterbacks of the 21st century have benefited from having a steady head coach and offensive coordinator during their early years. When Levis was drafted in April of
So we should have kept Vrabel. That would have helped him.
2023, he would have been hoping that longtime Titans head coach Mike Vrabel would continue on for several years and that he would be working with OC Tim Kelly for
Gee, I hope I get to keep working with Tim Kelly
the foreseeable future, allowing him to get to grips
God
with the
bless
new offense
Tim,
he would quickly be in charge of. However, at the end of the last campaign, Vrabel was a surprising casualty of Black Monday and was fired by the Titans.
The Titans firing Mike Vrabel.
Okay, we know what happened.
A successful 6-year stint in Tennessee, which saw the Titans win 2 division titles, make an AFC championship game, and Vrabel himself win NFL Head Coach of the Year in 2021, having secured the 1 seed in the conference. Vrabel's firing, though, came at the end of a disappointing season, sure, but he clearly wasn't the only problem at the team and was working with a fairly mediocre squad in a changing quarterback situation, which made a 6-11 season about on par for the course.
It was everything I've had to say about what he just said, I have said in the past. You can go back and watch. I've given my thoughts on it so many times that I don't have it in me to do it again. I don't have it in me to do it again. It was a bad season, sure, but no buts. The last 2 seasons have been disasters. Okay? And he played a part in it. You can't have 2 straight seasons like the Titans have with poor roster development, with conservative play calling. I've said it all before. I can't do it again.
Regardless, the Titans front office moved on and appointed Brian Callahan, who had spent the previous 5 seasons as the offensive coordinator for the Cincinnati Bengals. Are you looking for a new book this football season?
No, I'm not at all. Not even a little bit.
And Matthew Stafford at the Lions, suggesting that he knows a thing or two about coaching up top NFL quarterbacks. And now, while Callahan is an experienced coach, the fact of the matter is that he still is a rookie head coach, which isn't ideal for an aspiring young quarterback in Levis, especially when you consider that he wasn't even the play caller in Cincinnati under Zach Taylor.
God.
So now that we've gotten all that out of the way, what is there to be that's just so cheerful about being a Titans fan this year in 2024? Well, the team was fairly proactive in free agency, with arguably the biggest addition being Calvin Ridley, who was an all-pro receiver 4 years ago for the Falcons before a gambling suspension derailed his career for a good year and a half. Ridley returned to the league last season and had a good year with the Jaguars, breaking 1,000 yards and picking up 8 touchdowns at Trevor Lawrence's favorite target. His arrival is definitely a major boost to this offense, whose only real receiving weapon last time out was the aging DeAndre Hopkins.
The aging DeAndre. Do you hear that, DeAndre? Do you hear that, DeAndre? Old B-Rich here says you're an aging wide receiver. You can't barely even move, man. You can't barely even move. You're going to talk about how Calvin Ridley had a good year last year and then call DeAndre Hopkins an aging wide receiver. You watch Hopkins last year?
The size of Ridley's $92 million contract did raise some eyebrows, as now he's going to have a lot more money to gamble. I mean, it's just getting paid a lot of money, which got a lot of question marks. But for a team in desperate need of new offensive firepower, that's just the price of doing business. The Titans also added former Bengal Tyler Boyd, who was a good second or third option behind the likes of Jamar Chase and T. Higgins in an extremely stacked offense in Ohio. Clearly, his former OC Callahan feels that he had something to offer and has brought him in on a 1-year deal, adding depth as a wide receiver 3 behind Hopkins and Ridley. And while this does make that wide receiver unit at least a lot better than last year's team, it also makes them a lot older than last year's team. Like, I get Hopkins is obviously an all-time great, but it's impossible to get away from the fact that he's getting older and might not have too many years left of elite play in the tank. The same goes for Boyd, and by the end of this year, both men will be out of a contract, meaning Levis might have to deal with even more of an upheaval at the position sooner rather than later. In a positive step for the organization, though, the team has made some moves to improve the woeful offensive line, mostly using the 7th overall pick in the draft to get J.C. Latham out of Alabama, as the Titans taking an offensive tackle is one of the most obvious picks in the draft, and securing a guy like Latham looks like a good business move, a huge presence on the line, and is regarded by many as the absolute lock to be successful in the league. The Titans also added Lloyd Cushenberry from
we know who they are.
We're going to need to see just how good these guys can be once they actually put pads on and go up against an opposing team to really see how good they're going to be. But for now, we can at least say that this offensive unit, or just offensive line is what I should say, is going to be much better than last year's team. Finally, and I think one of the biggest hits of this team this year was the Titans losing longtime running back and franchise legend Derrick Henry in free agency, who after 8 seasons, 9,500 rushing yards, and 90 touchdowns, he's going to go to Baltimore. And although he's a tough man to replace, the team moved quickly to tie down Tony Pollard on a 3-year deal.
Okay, so now he's just recapping what they did. I mean, listen, I just, my head hurts. My head hurts. I mean, we're going to end the video by saying, oh, you know, look at all these great people they added on a video where you're telling me how bad they're going to be. I just can't take any of it seriously. I'm not asking anybody to sit down and say, guys, Will Levis is the truth. Will Levis is going to be amazing. He is going to absolutely tear it up. Will Levis is for president. Like, although I'd probably vote for him at this point with the options we have. But anyway, I'm not asking for anybody to just, but to just come out here and give me a bunch of bullcrap reasons why you don't think he's going to be good. There's some stuff you could say, but the throw against Pittsburgh, his mindset, at one point he talked about his mindset, his work rate or whatever. Like, I just don't buy any of these arguments. And I would love to hear this guy's thoughts on Anthony Richardson. You talk about unproven quarterbacks. I would love to hear his thoughts on Anthony Richardson. Would love it. Tighten up.